Africa Day is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity, or AU, now known as the African Union, on May 25, 1963. The first Congress of Independent African States was held in Accra, Ghana on 15 April 1958. It was convened by Prime Minister of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and comprised representatives from Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Liberia, Libya, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, and the Union of the Peoples of Cameroon. The Union of South Africa was not invited. This was the first time such a meeting had taken place on African soil. The conference called for the founding of an African Freedom Day, a day to mark each year the onward progress of the liberation movement and to symbolize the determination of the people of Africa to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. 5 years later, on 25th May 1963, representatives of 30 African nations met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, hosted by Emperor Haile Selassie. By then, more than two-thirds of the continent had achieved independence. The organization pledged to support the work conducted by freedom fighters and remove military access to colonial nations. A year after the Addis Ababa meeting, Zambia got its independence. The government at the time decided to honor and recognize fellow African freedom fighters by means of naming buildings, streets, residential areas, and learning institutions after them.
Yes, Thabo Mbeki Road.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean a road?
Yeah,
a
road or
an
area.
Mm-hmm.
Which other one?
So what do you know about Thabo Mbeki?
He's the former president of South Africa. He was at the University of Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Thabo Mbeki Road. An icon. Not really. I can think of like Cairo Road.
Okay.
That rings a bell because I was in Cairo. Which other places? A few fallen African freedom fighters. A Kenyan, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. But I think we've got names after these African freedom fighters, as per se.
Simon Mwansa.
So what do you know about Simon Mwansa Kwekwe?
He's a great freedom fighter.
Thabo Mbeki is a former South African president.
Oh.
African icon, Thabo Mbeki.
Okay.
Yeah, Thabo Mbeki. I think Thabo Mbeki was the second president of South Africa, so that makes him an African icon, right?
Yes, it does.
And Simon Mwansa Kwekwe, that should be in Avondale. He was a Zambian freedom fighter.
Haile Selassie Road is a street in Lusaka's Long Acres area that was named after a great African leader, Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia.
It is good that you are here to record this picture of me in my palace garden at Addis Ababa. People who see this throughout the world will realize that even in the 20th century, with faith, courage, and a just cause, David will still beat Goliath.
Haile Selassie was born in 1892 when Ethiopia was still known as the Abyssinian Empire. On June 30, 1936, he addressed the League of Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. He demanded the League take concerted action against the Italians who had recently invaded Ethiopia.
I decided to come myself to defend the cause of my people before the Council of the League of Nations.
When the League refused to help, Haile Selassie exiled Emperor of Ethiopia. With British help, Ethiopia was liberated from the Italians in 1941, and Haile Selassie retained to rule for more than 30 years. But growing social unrest, the continued poverty-stricken existence of most Ethiopians, and then a widespread famine led to his overthrow in 1974. He died the following year.
Like the priest just said, that despite everything, that the people have always loved him.
Lumumba Road in Lusaka Central District was named after another African freedom fighter called Patrice Lumumba, who was Congo's first prime minister. Patrice Lumumba was born in 1925. He grew up in a region where he witnessed the violence of the Belgians against the Congolese. Congo was colonized by the Belgians since the late 1800s. During his youthful years, he started questioning some of the inequalities that existed. In 1958, he was one of the young leaders of the Congo that attended the Pan-African Congress held by Kwame Nkrumah in Accra, Ghana. As he attended the Congress, he realized the importance of the Congo in the liberation of the African continent, and Kwame Nkrumah made sure he understood that. After he returned to the Congo, he mobilized thousands of Congolese people to demand independence. His fight together with his colleagues was successful, and on June 30th, 1960, Congo gained its independence. In his inauguration speech, Lumumba hoped for a complete independence for Congo.
Combattants de l'indépendance, aujourd'hui victorieux, je vous salue au nom du gouvernement congolais. À vous tous, mes amis, qui avez lutté sans relâche à nos côtés, je vous demande de faire de ce 30 juillet 1960 une date illustre que vous garderez ineffaçablement gravée dans vos cœurs, une date dont vous enseignerez avec fierté la signification à vos enfants, pour que ceux-ci, à leur tour, fassent connaître à leurs fils et à leurs petits-fils l'histoire glorieuse de notre lutte pour la liberté.
Global forces, particularly the US and its counterpart in Europe, still wanted to control Congo's resources, and after 8 weeks of being Congo's prime minister, Patrice Lumumba was captured, forced to eat his speech, and later assassinated. Thabo Mbeki Road connects Ali Kinkata and Greatest Roads in Lusaka's mass media area. The road was named after South Africa's second Republican president, Thabo Mvuyelwa Mbeki. Thabo Mvuyelwa Mbeki was born on 18th June 1942. On 14th June 1999, he became South Africa's second president.
I accordingly declare Thabo Mvuyelwa Mbeki duly elected as President of the Republic of South Africa.
On 20th September 2008, with about 9 months left in his second term, Mbeki announced his resignation after being recalled by the National Executive Committee of the ANC, following a conclusion by the Judge C.R. Nicholson of improper interference in the National Prosecution Authority, NPA, including the prosecution of Jacob Zuma for corruption. On 12th January 2009, the Supreme Court unanimously overturned Judge Nicholson's judgment, but the resignation stood.
Fellow South Africans, I have no doubt that you are aware of the announcement made yesterday by the National Executive Committee of the ANC with regard to the position of the President of the Republic. Accordingly, I would like to take this opportunity to inform the nation that today I handed a letter to the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Baleka Mbete, to tender my resignation from the high position of President of the Republic of South Africa, effective from the day that will be determined by the National Assembly.
For a number of Africans on the continent and part of the diaspora, Africa Day is a day when many different cultures of people from all African backgrounds come together to celebrate the diversity of Africa. The organization of the African Union in its objectives for a decolonized African state. Although it looks to celebrate how far Africa has come, it is also a day to reflect on how far Africa still has to go in building a unified and decolonized continent.